perspective, this is the area we're looking at right in here. But keep in mind where that is with all these nations. We're talking about the Ammonites already. We've got Philistines over here. And we'll talk about these other nations at the end of this chapter here, a little bit here. So Jonathan, as our bear decides to go over and squelch this Philistine threat there. And Saul's got about 600 men. He's camped out at Gibeah, which is his capital this time. The high priest is there with him. And the terrain is where the big thing is. It's a stronghold type area. And there's two sharp rocks, cliffs. And they're so famous even that they got names. The Bible actually lists the names of these two cliffs. They go one faces toward Michmash and one toward Gibeah. So here's the little blow up. We've been looking at this a lot here now. So now we're in the Benjamin Plateau area. Of course, here's Jerusalem, not even into play yet. About 11, 12 miles across this area here. Michmash is here. This is Saul's headquarters here at Gibeah. This is this pass. Remember they've talked about all this traffic goes across this low spot here in the mountain ranges across there. So keep this in mind. Now, while we're here, there's one more to look at, and that's this town right over here. That's Ajalon, and that's going to come into play later on. I want to point that out while we're here, off to the west side of where we are here. So there's Ajalon. We'll leave that a minute. Okay, I got a little video here again I'm going to show you. And Jeremy, you ready for that? And he's got to take time to slide it across. We watched this last time, and we looked at the traffic.
Shalom.
On the western side, the Mediterranean Sea side, up to the mountains. How they got up in there in this low spot. We're going to look at the eastern side this time. And when it gets to the third path coming up in here, that's the one that's going to be important to us. So watch how they come up.
Bridges, as he made his way.
And this is pretty interesting stuff. Think about the terrain here. Over the right hand, left hand corner bottom. You had it. Slide up across.
Count. Shishak recorded the conquest of towns along both the Beth Horon and Kiryat Jearim ridges as he made his way up to threaten Rehoboam in Jerusalem. Now let's examine the eastern approaches to the hill country and Jerusalem. This photo shows the remnants of a Roman road between Jericho and Jerusalem. On map 1-9, all traffic that comes from the east across the Jordan River is absorbed by Jericho. Jericho is in the Rift Valley, 800 feet below sea level. The most direct route from Jericho to Jerusalem climbs the ascent of Adumim, staying south of the Wadi Kilt. Wadi is an Arabic word, often abbreviated W on our maps, and Nahal, abbreviated N, is Hebrew, meaning canyon. Wadis are often dry and deep, but have water flowing in them during the winter rains.
We're in the Judean desert on the way from Jericho to Jerusalem, and it's characterized by deep canyons like the one behind me.
The rugged terrain of the Judean desert is drained by deep cutting wadis, like the Wadi Kilt visible here. Routes traversing the desert avoid the deep wadis and stay on ridges. Here is the path of the ascent of Adumim along the ridge above Wadi Kilt. Only 15 miles away, Jerusalem is 3,500 feet higher in elevation than Jericho. The Good Samaritan would have descended along the Adumim route when he assisted a man that had fallen among thieves. Jesus traveled on this ridge when he came to Jerusalem to die. The next route that ascends into the hill country from Jericho is called the Ephraim Ridge Route. This route follows a ridge between the drainage of the Wadi Nuema and the Wadi Ujah. A route ascending directly west from Jericho is called the Zeboim route. Note that near the town of Michmash, this route forks. One fork angles north toward Ai and joins the road of the patriarchs near Beth Aven and Bethel. Joshua undoubtedly utilized this route when he conquered and burned Ai. Another fork turns toward the town of Michmash and a place the Bible calls the Pass. The Pass is a place where one can cross over from one side to the other of the Wadi Suanit. The town of Michmash guards the north side of the pass. Geba guards the south side. From Geba, one has access to central Benjamin.
We are down in the Suwanit Valley, where we were just overlooking between Michmash and Geba. And this is a place where Jonathan crossed with his armor bearer from Geba down here between these two cliffs, which he had to climb using his hands, up to the Philistine garrison at Michmash. And the cliffs have been named in the Bible in 1 Samuel 14:4, where it says, on each side of the pass that Jonathan intended to cross to reach the Philistine outpost was a cliff, one called Bozez and the other Sinai. One cliff stood to the north toward Michmash, and the other to the south toward Geba.
Map 7.7 illustrates a historical event at the pass of Michmash.
Now you see the terrain there, that deep cliff they had to go down on each side. And think about that now as Jonathan and his armor bearer are climbing up through there. Give me the escape button one time. There you go. All right, so Jonathan tells you Jonathan armor bearer, so we're going to go down and do this. And here's his thing. The Lord can save by many, or the Lord can save by few. We know that back, the Judges, even the story of Gideon and the few he used there. Here's Jonathan and his armor bearer, and the armor bearer is with him. He said, you go, and I'm right with you there, I'll go. So here's their test. We're going to go up there, and we're going to let the Philistines see us coming up this cliff, and if they tell us to wait, that means the Lord does not want us to go up. So we'll stay there and stop. If they say, come on up, we're going up there, and we're going to attack the Philistines there. Jonathan and his armor bearer. So that was the test they did. So when they got there, they go up and they show themselves to the Philistines, and they tell them, come on out. Now, they laugh at them because they say, these Hebrews are finally come out of hiding. Flip back over just one chapter to chapter 13 and verses 5 and 6, and look at that. Albert, you got there? Read that right quick. 13, 5 and 6. Albert, you got that? Sorry. 13, 5 and 6. All right, so Philistines got this massive army there, and the Hebrews are going to hide it. So when they come out and start climbing up this cliff, the Philistines say, well, the Hebrews will finally come out of hiding up here. So they climb up, and as soon as they get there, Jonathan starts killing folks. And in a half-acre area there, he said he kills 20 people. And it seems like maybe he knocks them down, there's already bears behind him, he finishes them off there. This little parking lot here, probably maybe a quarter of an acre, I'm guessing. So think about an area like twice this size out here, and there's 20 bodies laid out there when Jonathan comes up through here. He just comes up, he starts attacking. He goes up there because the Lord is with him in what he's doing. So now the Lord steps in, and this earthquake comes in, this great fear, this great trembling, and Philistines start scrambling over one another and killing one another. And Saul's watchmen then see this. Keep in mind, we're not talking about great distances here. We're talking about 3 or 4 miles, maybe to most, from Gibeah, where Saul is, up to Michmash, where this is all going on. So they see it, and they wonder what's going on. So they take a roll call. Got 600 men with it. He takes a roll call, and he finds out 2 men are missing. Jonathan and his armor bearer are missing. So Saul says, okay, if all this is going on, we got to go. So they turn around and call the priest up there and said, should we go attack them? And the ark is there. Keep in mind now, the temple hasn't been built yet. There's no evidence that I can see anywhere that the tabernacle is even in existence anymore. So the ark of the Lord is right out there in the middle of the place with Saul and his army out there. And so Saul rallies up the Israelites, and they go attack the Philistines. This Jonathan had made it start. The Hebrews that had been in the caves because they had been scared and ran, all came out and joined with it there. And the Lord is with them, and they totally rout the Philistines that day. And Philistines start running, and they give chase to them. Here's the question, though. Why in the world are they having to deal with the Philistines in the first place? So they didn't take care of them when they first went in the land. Got to keep that in our minds. If they had done what God told them to start with, they wouldn't have to deal with the Philistines. They'd already been gone, okay? So as the battle pushes on, and Everybody's coming out, going after the Philistines now, coming out of these rocks and caves and hiding. Saul does another foolish thing. He puts a curse out. Anybody who eats any food today before this battle is over, and I have claimed victory. So you're going to chase the Philistines all day long with nothing to eat, what it amounts to. Saul's last promise. So my question here is, where is Saul in his relationship with God right now? It's already gone, right? Back in chapter 13, remember we talked about it in chapter 8, he made king, they asked for a king. Chapter 9, he's anointed by Samuel. And chapter 10, the public anointing. And by 13, we said he'd be already in trouble. And so here we are now in 14, and yeah, God's already written him off because of his actions and what he's done here. So as they go through this and are chasing these Philistines, they come to some honey in some woods, and Jonathan reaches his staff down and he sticks it in the honey and he eats some honey. And the text, at least one of my read, says his eyes were brightened. If you were famished, what would some honey do to you? Give you a sugar rush, give you some strength to build you up, right? And so here's all the other Israelites that are chasing them out there, and they're getting famished, and they have nothing to eat. But they tell Jonathan what Saul has said. Jonathan, what to do that? Your dad said, don't eat till the day's over. Well, Jonathan didn't know that. And he built it up, and he even says himself, that was not a good order. Why would Saul give such an order as that? We're going to be famished. He says it could have been a greater route if we had the strength to go out there and do it with. So they drive the Philistines back to Ajalon, the town I showed you on the map a while ago. Now, think about this. When they started leaving Michmash, the Philistines, why would they go back toward Ajalon? They're going back to their territory. Keep in mind, the Philistines are on that edge of the Mediterranean Sea over there, down to the bottom left. So they're heading back to the west through that travel spot we just talked about through there, that Benjamin Plateau, going back down to their home area there. So the Israelites now, if they route them back, get them pushed back, they go ahead and take the spoil they can find, and now the next mistake comes in. What do they start doing now? They kill these animals, they're hungry, and they eat them, and they're not bled. Well, what's the problem with that? Not to eat blood. Not only is that part of the law of Moses, how far back does that go? All the way back to just after the flood, Genesis chapter 9, verse 4, where you're commanded not to eat the life that's in the blood. So Saul and his foolish statement here about the oath of don't take anything to eat, now the people are famished. They've been chasing the Philistines all this day, routing them, and they're famished. So now they start eating these animals that have not been bled. So Saul calls for a big rock to be brought in, a place where they could kill the animals and let the blood run out so they could properly slaughter them. And it says Saul builds an altar. And it notes one thing about that altar. This is the first altar Saul has built. All this time Saul's been king, and this is the first time he's gone through and actually built an altar. So, they chase the Philistines all night. They ask about the require of God. Should they do this? What kind of answers God give them? That's it. That's exactly what he told them. Nothing. He didn't answer at all. Okay, didn't answer at all. So Saul decides to send the camp. Must be that why God won't talk to him. So he called all the leaders together to find out what's going on and why. Well, they tell him about Jonathan violating the oath that Saul has put out there for him. And now Saul makes his next mistake. What's he going to do about Jonathan? I'm going to kill him. So Jonathan violated my command. He ate what I told him not to. And he's going to kill Jonathan now because of it. So just look at all the things that Saul has done all along here that just make no sense whatsoever. So they get up there and they cast lots with the Urim and the Thummim. And Saul and his Jonathan are on one side, the people on the other side, they cast the lots, and it falls on Saul and Jonathan. So between the two of them, they cast it again, and it falls on Jonathan. He's the one that was guilty of eating the honey. He tells his dad what he's done, tells Saul what he's done, and Saul's going to kill him. And who intervenes for him? The people did, okay? Saul, look what Jonathan has done. He went in to attack the Philistines. The Lord's given us a great victory. We've routed him out of here, and you're going to kill him, the very one who led this whole thing and got it started and gave us this victory here. We don't think so. So the people speak up and stand in for Jonathan and keep Saul from killing him. Saul continues to have wars. Look at these nations that's listed here, maps on the next slide. We'll look at where they are. Moab, Ammon, Edom, Zobah, Philistines, Amaleks. Next we'll get here. And all the valiant men he can find, he takes into his army here. So now he's going to go fight the Amalekites. Chapter 15. Come back. And what's he told to do? We all know this story of chapter 15. Because of the sin of the Amalekites, God's ready to take and punish them. So here's what he's told to do. Go utterly destroy them. And it's pretty specific. Man, woman, child, animal, everything. Wipe them off. So that's pretty harsh. It is pretty harsh. But God punishes sin. At that time he did a different way from what it does today. He said, go wipe them out. So here's the point. Was there any doubt what God told Saul to do? No. No doubt. Go utterly destroy them. Man, woman, child, animals, wipe them out. So here's where they're located. They did other nations we looked at. Ammon's one of them, Moab's one. There's Philistines over here. Here's the Amalekites down here to the south. So to the Philistines, Saul's got his hands full with Amalekites now. So this time, I don't know if it's because of the victory of the Philistines that got things stirred up. But what kind of size army Saul's got this time? 200,000 soldiers, 200,000 men, and another 10,000 men from Judah. He's going to go in and fight the Amalekites with. So he goes down to where they are, down in South Park down there. The Kenites were people that in that area down there, and they showed kindness to Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So Saul warns them, lets them get out of the way. We don't have a beef with you. That's not where it is. So he's going to go attack the Amalekites. So he does. He routs them. But, and here's where we start to trouble. But, what does he do? He keeps Agag, the king, and the other people he destroys. And he keeps, what else? The best of the livestock. For what purpose? To make sacrifice with them, okay? Anything wrong with making sacrifice? No, not normally, but let's go through it and look at it in a minute. Yeah, things he didn't want, in other words, right? Yeah, things that it's okay in his mind to destroy it up. So Saul starts coming back. This victory he's had there. The Lord appears to Samuel. He tells him what's going on. He tells him exactly what's happened. And look at this next part here. God regrets. God regrets. Regrets having made Saul king. Regrets the fact that Saul's turned his back on him. He's not done what he told him. Now, let's circle around that to stop and think just a minute. How does God feel when we don't do what he tells us to do? think he had any regrets about what he's done for us? I sent my son for you, and you're going to do this to me? You're going to ignore what I tell you to do? We look back at Saul, we say, yeah, Saul got what he deserved. He didn't do what God told him to. God regrets that he made Saul king. He regrets that Saul didn't do what he told him to. How do you think God feels when we don't do what he tells us to? We'll get more of this at the end when we start talking about this. Here's the other point. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Samuel is grieved about this. Samuel is hurt. Samuel's the one that went and anointed Saul when God had told him to go and make him the king. What did Samuel do? Calls out the Lord how long? All night. How many times have you been upset over something that's gone on, wrong, some sin, and you literally prayed or called out to God all night because you're so grieved over it? Do we really care? Do we really care sometimes that much about sin that's around us? Do we really care that much about it when somebody we're really concerned about is not doing what they ought to? Look what Samuel did. Samuel already made his speech about his retirement. He's backing off. Samuel was a judge. Now he's got Saul appointed king. When Samuel gave us a retirement speech, if you will, to the people there, at the end of it, he made one statement. I will not cease to do what? Remember that? I will not cease to continue to pray for you. Okay? Samuel still cared about the people. Saul's sin here grieved Samuel. It hurt him. It hurt him bad. So Samuel gets up early to go out to meet Saul. Saul had already made a monument to himself for his great victory here. And he comes back into the Gilgal, which is over toward Jordan, with the muster point, which they have that a lot of times there. And when he meets Samuel, what does he say? God sent me on this mission, and what did I do? I went and did it, okay? I performed the commandments of the Lord. Samuel says, okay, then what's all this noise I hear back here? What's all this noise, these animals I hear back here? If you went and wiped everything out, why is there noise of animals coming back here behind you? Saul says, oh, the people, they brought them back to do what with? Sacrifice to who? Your God, Samuel, okay? Not, didn't say to our God, our Lord, your God. It's next. What does Samuel say to him next? Be quiet. He says, wait a minute, Saul. Let me tell you what's going on here. Okay? He says, wait. Let me tell you what the Lord has said. The Lord Jesus said, Saul, hush. That's enough. You didn't do it. I'm just going to tell you didn't do it. I'm going to tell you why you didn't do it. God told you to go do it, and you just didn't do it. Okay? So Samuel tells Saul exactly what the Lord has said to him. Here's what happened, Saul. Not what you said you'd done. And Saul comes back again and says, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord. Yet King Agag be spared. And the people brought back these spoils for the purposes of offering sacrifice, of course. Then we got these famous verses that we all know. Verses 22 and 23. Brady, got them there? Read 22 and 23. Did God want people to offer sacrifice to him? Sure he did. It's exactly what he told them to do, right? God wants us to worship him today. But what does he want more than sacrifice? If you love me, you're going to do what? Keep my commandments. Okay. Obedience. Obedience is far more important than offering sacrifices. To bring back all these animals to offer sacrifices with made nothing compared to that. You disobeyed God in doing it. Yeah, with that next here. Yeah. Go ahead. All right, now, I don't have them underlined. Look at, I want you to look at 3 or 4 key words in this verse. Rebellion, presumption, which is like iniquity, and you rejected the word of God. You rebelled, you were presumptuous, and you rejected what God told you to do. Because of that, God rejected you being king. And we already heard that back in chapter 13. And that is nailed down. So, what happens in the time when you get caught? You figure out now, I better try to straighten things up. So, because of the people, not because of, no indication Saul did it because of Saul thought he needed to straighten himself out with the Lord. But because his position with the people, Saul wants Samuel to forgive him. So he starts to talk to Samuel about it, and Samuel turns and walks off. What's Saul do? He reaches and grabs his garment, and it tears. A piece tears loose. Samuel told him, says, just like this garment tore, God has torn or ripped the kingdom from you. And look what he says about it. And give it to what? A neighbor of yours that what? That's better than you are. Would that sting you? Taking it from you and giving it to neighbors of you, yours who is better than you are. So Saul asked him again to come back. Samuel comes back this time. He doesn't bring Agag up. An indication is now that Agag thinks what's going to happen. Based on his comments coming that Agag, it kind of looks like he thinks, hey, things are okay now, maybe. What's Samuel do? Agag. He hacks him to pieces. He did exactly what Saul was supposed to do to start with. And then Samuel leaves. He goes back to his hometown at Ramah, and Saul goes home to Gibeah. And there's a phrase here we need to remember. It says, Samuel would see Saul no more till when? The day of his death. That's the day of Saul's death. Okay. So remember that. We'll get that a little later on, chapter 19. And the funny thing is, what's going to happen between now and then? Who's going to die? Samuel is, okay? So he said, I won't see you. He said, he saw him again no more to the day of his death, that is Saul's death. Samuel and Saul didn't see each other again to the day of Saul's death, but in the meantime, Samuel dies. We'll get to chapter 19, we'll figure that one out. Yeah, but it turned out to be Saul's death is what it is here. Chapter 19. And yet, Samuel still mourns for Saul. And the Lord regrets he didn't make Saul king because of the choices that Saul made. Keep this in mind. God hurts. God hurts what his people sin. I don't care if it's then or if it's now. All right, a couple of things right quick. Back to Jonathan and the story of him, that maybe the Lord will work for us, and the Lord's not restrained. He can save by many or by few. What's the key part here of what Jonathan's saying? Jonathan's not saying, me and my armor bearer, we're going to go up there and take care of these Philistines. He said, who's going to take care of them? God is. Okay, that's the part that Jonathan recognized, or the Saul never did recognize. But Jonathan, when he says that, he says, God's going to do it. God's going to take care of it. All right. And there's some other things here we can look at there, talking about the power of God. References on the slide up there. We'll skip that. We're about to run out of time here. But Jonathan recognized the power of God, and he was giving credit to God. The Lord was saved by few. The next thing I think about here for a minute is how many times you go through the Bible and think about it, do rash oaths get people in trouble? Over and over and over. And Saul made one here. You won't eat. You won't eat till this battle's over and I've claimed victory. That's what Saul said. What's Saul worried about? My victory over the Philistines. Made this rash thing about don't eat it. And over, you see different times where people make these rash oaths without thinking and gets them in trouble. Yeah, right. So what God tell us to do? What does it say in Matthew 5 here? Let your yes be what? Yes is yes, and your no is no. There's no need to make these rash promises and things you can't keep up with. Just be a man of your word. Just tell the truth. And then we talked about this already. What does God want? He wants us to obey. How many times, in the Old Testament, and we read it in the New Testament as well, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you obey me, you'll be my people. I'll be your God. Over and over, this whole thing of obedience and subjection and doing God's will is brought out all through the stuff with dealing with the Israelites, particularly in the early times here. And if they didn't, the prophets come in. That's the rest of the Old Testament comes in. The New Testament is drilled again and again and again and again. What does God want? He wants obedience. Not just from Saul. He wants obedience for us. All right. I'll let you 1 minute today instead of 2. If I got something. Yeah, and I meant to bring it out stronger, but I did. Thanks, Albert. What Albert says is everything that we can think of to do good for God, if it's not what God wanted, what's it worth? No. It's not obeying God. It's worth nothing. I don't care how good we think it is. I got a better way, right? Yeah. I got a better way. God wants obedience. Always has, always will. Okay, clock says it's 9:40. Thank you very much. So y'all was scrambling back